Hey there, my friends. This is Bill MacDonald, the Common Sense Math Doctor. And today's lesson is going to be on coordinate grids with ordered pairs. And so one thing that students struggle with is whether to do the X axis or the Y axis first. Why? I have no idea. But if you think of the 0, 0 position, 0x and 0y over here in the lower left-hand corner, x would be like running down the runway. You have to do that before the plane can take off. That's the horizontal movement to the right if the first number is positive. Then, if the second number is positive, sort of like a helicopter, now it would be how many units it goes up in the air. Now, I think that the reason that the kids struggle with the problem I'm going to share with you is because the whole number had a decimal that was 0.5 or 5/10 after each whole number on all four of the XY coordinates. So let me show you how I would do it. And what they were looking for was if I say, if I look behind me here at some of these points, it's like what XY coordinate would be inside both the tree that's up there and this rock here or this rock down there. And so it would have to be, like I said, however many units over and then however many units up. And so you would block in those areas because it said if it has to be inside the XY coordinates of two different objects, then I suggest that they mark those areas accordingly and they'll be fine. So this is how I did it. So you can possibly share this with your students. This came from question number 25. Being that it was a readiness question, it means that your sixth grade students would be struggling with this question that came from number 25, the one that was like it, because only 50% of the kids in fifth grade got it correct. And so what probably happened, the students, when they were checking the coordinates, the XY coordinates of the letters, they probably found one inside the area of one place or one that was inside the area of the other place, but forgot that the question said it has to be inside both places. So let's take a look and see how the problem is set up. There are two shapes drawn in the coordinate grid as shown. So again, these are both positive numbers. So as I mentioned, you run down the runway for the X coordinate, and then you go up in the air because it's positive for the Y coordinate. If you have a submarine where the first number is positive and the second number is negative, it would be how much you would move under the surface of the water. Just kind of a corny way to think of things that are sometimes hard for kids to understand. So let's take a look at them one by one. Let's move for letter A, 4.5 positions to the right from 0. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 5.5 positions up, which is right there. So I've marked it letter A since The question says which ordered pair represents a point that is inside both shapes. It's inside the pentagon, but not the rectangle. So we're going to have to eliminate letter A. Letter B says 6.5 or 6 5/10 and 6 5/10 for the Y. There's 6 5/10 down the runway, 6 5/10 for the Y. B is inside the highlighted area. That is the only portion that is inside both shapes. So that one is the best one so far. Letter C, 8.5, 8 5/10 down the runway, and 5 5/10 up in the air. That one is only inside the rectangle, so I'm going to have to eliminate it. Letter D, 3.5, 3 5/10 down the runway, and 4.5, 4 5/10 up in the air is D. And I accidentally marked it one position over, but either way, it would be the wrong answer because it's only inside one of the shapes, the pentagon. So if your kids are explaining, then they could say for letter A, only in pentagon. Letter B, in both shapes. Letter C, only in rectangle. And letter D, only in pentagon. Now, because we're trying to get ready for next year, an open-ended extension would be multiple parts, an A and B answer. Let me show you what I mean. When you start getting ready for next year, one of the constructed type responses is multiple parts. It's the answer to part B is dependent on part A. So let me show you how that would work. All we need is a letter with an X coordinate, which means it would have to be from 6 to 8 for the X, because that's the only position that's inside both shapes. So let's say we go with 6.5, then we would need the Y. If 6.5 is the A, where I'm going to go green here, I'm going to extend beyond the question. 6.5, if that's my first portion, then all I need is something like 4.5, 5.5, or 6.5. Since I already have the 6.5, let's go ahead and move it to 4.5. So the second one would be 4 5/10. If I was to do one more, just for a different answer again, point A and B are interconnected. They're dependent on what you pick. So let's pick 7. Or you know what? Let's do a challenging one. I'm going to go all the way to 8. Since 8 only has one position that's touching the portion of the pentagon, it's going to have to be 8.0, and then we'd have to go with 5 point, and it looks like 5.8 or somewhere in that range. If you didn't want to take a chance, well, let's pick 7.5. And again, these are all dependent on each other. That part B is dependent on what you choose in part A. So if I choose 7.5 as my part A, then all I have to do is make sure that I choose 4 or 4.5, 4.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way to 5, and all the way to 5, it looks like, to 6 on the y-axis, and you would get the answer. And so you could pick any of those ranges. And again, on multi-part answers, your answer to part B is going to be dependent on what you choose for part A. And so for those of you that were asking, I've already purchased a program that allows me to turn all of my PDF tests that I send digitally to you to an online only test. And you can also get the PDF version. So you can get both, where you can practice in paper and in online formats, where you have the whole drop down and multiple choice and short answer. So I'll start working on that throughout this summer, so that you who are in Texas, who are transitioning to all online, will be able to have a structure and a format that can work for you in all subjects, like I'm showing you here for this one. So for right now, you can extend beyond the answer. Yes, let's follow our rules that we read, underline, and label, that we eliminate the wrong answers after we've executed, select the correct answer in the book, the Scantron, or the submission in your online response, but also do, if it's multiple choice, an extension, practice some open-ended based on one of these types of constructed type responses, so that your kids can work on it. And as you can see here, another one that would work would be, because graphing is what we're doing there, the students would graph the response and bars or points or function graphs or solution sentences. So basically they'd be graphing a point as part of their answer. And as long as it's inside that highlighted area, then your X and Y coordinate would just have to match whatever point that you chose. That could be another way of having an A depending on the answer, and vice versa. So do me a small favor and like this video on my YouTube page, subscribe, so you can be part of the people who get this extra practice during the summer. Let's not wait till the summer or till the fall to start understanding and getting good at the different type constructed short answer, and for reading teachers, those extended essay responses. Let's start building that foundation for ourselves and putting these skills in our toolbox, so that when we go all online and start doing these types of questions, we're going to be ready, we'll be confident, and we won't have as many issues as if we wait till the last minute. And some schools unfortunately wait all the way till the second semester of next school year. So I look forward to seeing many of you this summer and this fall. And so what I offer teachers who don't have control over money, for each day that I come to your campus or district, if you have no control over how money is spent, there's something that I'm allowed to give you, which is called a finder's fee, where you'd get $100 for each day of that training. Once I get paid for the training, you could get it sent in a check, or in Venmo, or Cash App, or Zelle, or whatever way that you use to send and receive money. That's easiest for you, because sometimes my flyer that I send to a school could end up in the trash. But if you've been watching me and following me long enough on Facebook, in my reading, writing, math, or motivation clubs, and even my faith-based praising you in the mountains and trusting you in the valleys club, I think that we'll make some great progress moving forward for this coming year, because remember, all teachers in all subjects, 3rd through 10th grade, in the next May test are going to have constructed type responses like the 10 that are listed on my writing folder, short answer responses for all subjects, and for you reading teachers, they're going to have those 5-point questions where your kids can get 3 points for organization and development based on, did you answer the question and did you give textual evidence? Did you develop your response? That would get you up to 3 points for the development or organization part. And the other 2 points your kids can earn are, how good are the conventions of that response? So if 2 different judges give you 5 points, then the product of 5 and 2 is 10 points. And so all of you from 3rd through 10th grade are going to have one question like that. And it can come from different genres, but the response in the essay extended format is pretty much going to be expository. What is the answer? Where is the answer at in the selection? Why is it the answer? Give me an example and explain it, and have pretty decent conventions while you're doing that. So good luck. Don't forget to email me at writing_doctor@yahoo.com if you have any questions about trainings with your teachers this summer. And as I mentioned in my previous video, I'm actually doing a 2-day training in the first 10 days of June, where I'm working at a campus for 2 days, working with everybody on the constructed type response, short answer responses, and for reading teachers, the extended essay response. But we also are going to work with the high school teachers, because they still have to take the retest in June and in December for kids who didn't pass the first time. And because some teachers are visual learners, I offered them a couple of hours of working with their summer school students who are there each day from 8 to 12. So just some things to think about if you want that type of training. If you're wanting a student-related training in the summer, then let's make sure we get together sometime during the month of June while you're doing summer school, so that you can have an opportunity to see the strategies implemented and applied toward your students, not just a teacher only training where you don't see how it can relate and be relevant and student friendly with your kids. So let's take some huge steps forward and help ourselves and our students. You all take care and have a blessed day.